maybe this will do well enough to when I go pick up Armored Core 7. The guy behind the counter will tell me they have more than one copy available.
That blew my mind. That genuinely
That blew my mind too!
It's still a FromSoft game. It's not a rain code. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me as always are my good friends Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
You don't have to lie to us, Hunter. You can say that you've been bad. You can say that.
You don't have to keep up the bit this week.
The circumstances of the past couple of days have been hilarious. The power lines came down around my house because there was a bunch of heavy wind on Thursday night or Friday morning, depending on your opinion of how time works.
A storm was a brewing, and so if you're wondering why Hunter looks like he's in a cave and sounds like he's in a cave, that is because he is not. He's on location. He's on location. So apologies.
Yeah.
But we're just glad that he's here, that he's alive, that he didn't take the same fate as his car.
Oh yeah, my car's back window got busted.
Yeah.
You've
had better days. You've had better days. But
yeah,
it's all
a
good.
stark contrast to the last weekend I had.
Yeah. And I mean, I if you're wondering what's wrong with me, I've got a frog in my throat, so if my voice sounds a bit hoarse or whatever, I don't know why. My voice has just been a bit shit this week, so that's why that's like that. You got any problems with you, Kyle, that we need to discuss beforehand?
My video listeners, my webcam may or may not be darker from last week.
Mine's got a slightly different angle
into
as well.
Discord, and Ethan and I were like, something's up with your webcam, and
I
mucked around with some settings, and I don't know if I fixed it or not.
Who knows?
I thought
Maybe
you left the light off or something.
I don't know.
Who knows? I just
click the buttons. I don't know what they do.
Like I say, recommend get a ring light, guys. Get a ring light. You don't have to be you don't have to wear makeup, or you don't have to be a big time streamer to have one of these $10 like lights that you just shine on your face and blind yourself with every week. It's great. It's great fun. But no, you're gonna have to
have a place on my desk for a ring light. That's mostly the issue.
Mine's got like a little clip that you just like clip on to the desk, and then it just like, it's weird. You can find any that suit you. Who knows? I don't know your desk that well. But you're gonna have to bear with us slightly.
Well, first its name is Jimmy.
Hi Jimmy. But it's funny because as soon as the games start releasing, we've got this week with Armored Core, you've got next week with Sea of Stars and Starfield Early Access, following week Starfield for real this time, Baldur's Gate 3 coming to PlayStation, and it just, the list goes on and on and on for the next couple of weeks. We've got a long trail ahead of us.
Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed is a good franchise. You've got so much stuff coming out that it's just like, of course this is when Hunter has to have his power cut completely and his car smashed to pieces. This is, of course, when I decide is the perfect time to go on holiday, and Kyle has to sit here and take over the show. So it's going to be a great fun few weeks. So buckle in, buckaroos. We are going to have a blast.
Damn it, Kyle actually has to play video games for this podcast now.
Not only does Kyle have to play video games, but he also has to pay attention because he's going to be doing the maneuvering of the show for the most part. So it's going to be a fun few weeks for Kyle, especially. But yeah, if you're new here, welcome on in. This is the HGO podcast. We're here every Monday around 5 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Bit of housekeeping. Obviously, Hunter's Raincode review is up on youtube.com/hotgamesonly if you want to go check that out. We would appreciate it. We don't have any reviews really scheduled at the moment, but they will come out when they get done, and if we are covering them, you'll find out here first, I guess. But yeah, there's gonna be a whole like snowball effect of reviews coming out eventually as we get deeper and deeper into this holiday season, I guess, because there will be plenty of games we're gonna have to cover. We're gonna have to do it, guys. We're just gonna have to, but it'll be fun.
There's no other option, apparently.
There's no other option. So if you do want to see all those, make sure you subscribe on youtube.com/hotgamersonly. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Can we get to 300 subs before Halloween? Let's find out. Let's just do that. Ooh. What will we do this Halloween? Who knows? I don't. We'll have to
I
find
don't
out.
know, but I already ordered my costume, so I can't promise any incentive there.
I can't promise one for me either. I sorted mine out like 2 months ago. I just got in front of it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just had an idea, and I was like, it doesn't cost $100 or whatever ridiculous amount of money I've spent the last couple of years, and also it's stuff that I could kind of wear in my free time. So I was like, we're gonna go with that one. So you got to catch up,
You
Kyle. Apparently, we're
you guys
we're
are
way
way ahead of
ahead.
the bell curve. I was lying in bed last night. I'm like, oh hey, Halloween's coming up. I should figure that out.
Hell yeah, you
Well,
should.
a lot of times I'll go and like when it gets to like middle of September, I'll be thinking about it, and then it'll be like, oh, costume websites be like, oh, it takes 4 weeks to make it, and then another week to ship it to you, and I'm like, oh, sad.
Yeah, for me,
Mm.
most of the time, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna take 2 months, so I have to think ahead. And this time, I was like, no, I'm gonna make my own from home, kind of, because it was a more casual
Yeah.
thing. So I'm sorry, guys, if you were expecting me in a anime costume for the third year in a row, you're gonna be disappointed. I'm sorry. My self confidence is not the highest this year, so we're just gonna have to move on. It's not that, it's too much money. It's too much money. And I think every year it's just more and more questionable to my friends and family around me. Every year. We're just gonna have to, we'll take a year break, we'll come back better than ever next year. You're just gonna have to believe me. But no, this week we're talking so much shit. Armored Core's out. We're gonna talk Armored Core. That's happening this week. Cal's been playing it. We're gonna discuss all about it, give our first impressions and whatnot. We're gonna talk about opening night live, some of the little tidbits that came out, little fun things that we can talk about there. I played a lot of Resident Evil 4. We'll talk all about the lung. Hunter's got some Iron Lung impressions, not to do with the power cut. He's played a video game, and he's
Yeah.
fine. Audio listeners, he's fine. He's not injured. He was doing a bit of an Iron Lung pose earlier when he was like lying on the couch like that. But other than that,
I need
he's fine.
spinal support. I can't lean back. My earphones aren't that long.
Oh,
Right.
boohoo!
He
I
needs the
actually
iron
haven't.
spine.
I actually haven't tested
The
how long
iron's
my
fine.
headphones are either. That might be a problem. We'll work that through anyway. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So yeah, we've got plenty to talk about this week. So yeah, buckle in. And like I say, it's a busy few weeks. So if you're here, follow us on your favorite podcast services, subscribe, like, leave some feedback. We'd appreciate it all. And if you have any questions about any games that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, hotgamersonly@gmail.com. You can use that if you're archaic. If you're over the age of 30 and like to email, go and do that. That'd be great. Thank you. Um, if you're a
Or go to
reviewer,
the website.
send us a copy. Where's my copy of Starfield? I have shilled this game for 2 years. Where's my copy, Todd? You
If
fucking
you're a
fraud.
reviewer, don't you mean if you're a publisher?
If you're a publisher, no. If you're a reviewer, send me your copy.
Send
Yeah,
me your code.
send me your code so we can make a review and not for your outlet.
Yeah, that'd be great. You can publish it on your outlet too. I just want to play Starfield. Thank you.
Syndicated
Yeah.
review content.
I'm not picky. I'm not picky at all. Anyway, Kyle,
What's up?
you've been playing Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, I believe.
Big robot game.
It is
Finally
a big
came
robot
out.
game. It's a big robot game in many ways. It is about big robots. It's done pretty well on Steam. I think it's turned out that at this point people will just buy a FromSoft game for being
Oh,
a
yeah.
FromSoft game, which I'm pretty. Let's be real. There are plenty of
Just on
developers.
recognition alone, yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of developers that have that kind of fan base that don't deserve it. And I think, let's be real here, I think From kind of deserves it with their track record of I'm like, 200,000 people are playing Armored Core on Steam. Kind of deserved with their prior track
Yeah.
record. They never miss.
Yeah.
I mean,
so-
I like it when developers that do this are actually doing something that's like From Software is doing things that are different than the typical AAA do whatever you want kind of thing. So having people that'll show up for it to let them, it's like why I think that it's cool that Kojima can do all the weird stuff that he does.
Mm.
Mhm. And it's also
Yeah.
nice that with Armored Core, it's not just Dark Souls, but with robots, it does feel like its own unique thing, like completely removed from any Soulsborne-esque kind of gameplay loop.
And I guess that was the first question that I kind of had going into it was, I feel like there was this big debate online for a little while anyway, that was kind of going along the lines of, okay, Armored Core 6, obviously, for those people who have played Dark Souls that don't know about Armored Core, because you could have literally have played the entirety of the Dark Souls franchise and never even heard of Armored Core, because I feel like the last one was like, what, 2010? Like, really a long time ago. When was Armored Core 5? I'll do a little
I
check in a
got you.
second.
Sure. It was like in the PS3 era, I think, but
It was
I don't know
100%.
when
I can't remember if it
exactly.
was between Dark Souls 1 and 2 or if it was before Dark Souls 1. I feel like it was a long, long time ago.
Armored Core 5 was 2012.
Okay. So it was just on
Wow.
that cusp of at the end of the last generation. God, it's not even last generation anymore. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a long time. There's been a whole Souls franchise between it, and I think a lot of the discourse and discussion beforehand was, is this going to be a Armored Core game, or is it going to be a kind of Dark Souls with mechs? And I feel like I've always been like, they'll obviously take influence. There's a lot of Armored Core influence in Dark Souls, so it's like there's going to be that back and forth. But it's got to be an Armored Core, like it's going to be a mecha ass mecha game. And is it a mecha ass mecha game, Kyle? Is I guess the biggest
It's
question.
it's pretty mecha.
Hell yeah. So how much have you played of it?
According to the PlayStation, I've played 6 hours, and that's 40% of the game done.
And remember, guys, that is via the PlayStation, so that means he could either have
Which
played two
cannot be
hours or
trusted.
16 as well. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. I was looking at, I'll talk about Resident Evil 4 later, but it says on my PlayStation time that it's like, you've spent 55 hours. And then I go in the in-game timer and I've spent 72. And it's like, where that discrepancy is pretty big. Like, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened there, Sony, but you missed a couple. But yeah, so you've played quite a bit of it. And I guess, you
Mhm.
know, you've had an interesting experience with Souls. You've played Bloodborne, you played Elden Ring. This is your first Armored Core game, I assume.
Correct.
How are you feeling?
I'm enjoying this game. It has an interesting gameplay loop where everything is mission select based. It's not open world or any kind of free roaming overworld to go through. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you go and basically you run a mission, complete it, you get credits, and all those credits go to buying parts to upgrade your mech, and then you just keep moving on in that sort of a loop.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat.
It's very much from the looks of it. Like, if you are a fan of mechs and you're a fan of kind of customizing your kit and your loadout and kind of getting extremely nitty gritty. Like, I have seen people who are like, they get into there's people making like not just from a customization point of view. I've already seen some crazy mechs that people have built. I've already seen that people have fucking modded in like character models to stick on top of mechs. We've already seen that.
I saw an Among Us
Yep.
plastered on I saw a mech with a tramp stamp earlier.
I saw a couple of GTA memes, they are shit, here we go again. I saw them, they just imported the model straight into the game, so it's just him with his arms like this, T-posing, flying across the land.
I saw one that was a Kirby going mouthful mode on
Oh, that's
on the mech.
hilarious.
That'd be really funny if someone can make Kirby Kirby as a fridge, just like I just want fridge Kirby that's dominating the land. That'd be pretty sick. But not only does it have like that kind of customization in terms of personalization and that kind of stuff, but it very much is it kind of has that kind of, I don't want to say, well, I do want to say complexity to it, where it's like kind of takes the kind of like build mentality of something like a Souls, where it's like, which build are you going for, and it's kind of you kind of have that kind of same thing, but with big ass fucking mechs. It's like heavy weapons and speed and all these kind of other kind of crazy mechanics, where it's like, from someone who's a layman to these kind of things, to me it just looks like someone's fucking flying around just shooting shit. Like, it just looks like, oh,
Yeah.
look at me, I'm big robot. When like looking at the actual nitty gritty of it, it does seem like a very complex system, a very kind of intricate little bit of game design, where I'm like, that's sick. It bore me to death because I have a simple
Yeah.
brain, but I can appreciate it. It looks pretty cool.
And I mean, it is like the robot building is super in depth with what you can do with this game, and I know that is solely for the fact that once you're done with this game, there's probably no post game, and the only post game is playing PvP online.
Oh, this game has PvP.
I don't know, because it's
Of course
like
it
mission
does.
based,
Of
I
course it does.
suspect it might be short enough to where it might encourage you to just play again.
Yeah, that too.
I've heard it's around 20 hours or so is the idea of
Yeah,
the kind of
15,
length
20.
that Miyazaki has kind of suggested, which is like kind of crazy, right? Because it's like, if there's one thing Souls fans love, it's replaying those games over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's like, people can beat Dark Souls in a couple of hours. Like, your first playthrough takes you 50, 100 hours. most people like will just play it for fun and just beat it in an afternoon, do it in like 2 or 3, right? And I 100% see this being the same kind of thing where it's like, yeah, 20-hour first playthrough. People are you're going to see some crazy stuff in the next like month or two where people just crank this shit out in like an hour and a half, 2 hours and just go crazy with it, which I'm sure they'll enjoy because they're all fucking psychos and they'll just do that for fun. But
and it also helps that the missions aren't very long. Like, I feel like they never run further than 15 minutes.
which is good. That's a good
It's
length.
very digestible for like short burst gameplay.
But no, I guess my big question is, because I've heard a lot of people, how difficult are you finding it? Because I've seen that a lot of people, some people are having, some people are going, oh, this is surprisingly challenging. Some people are crying. Some people, it's the same mixed emotions that every Souls,
Right
like every
before
FromSoft game ever gets, right? It's got the same
recording
kind of
started, I
reactions.
saw one of a guy being like, I smashed a PlayStation 5 controller and I'm never buying some soft game again. No matter how cool I think it'll be. I'm like, wow, this guy's having a normal one.
Yeah,
All right,
and to
that's a
him,
bit
to him,
extreme.
I'll say, I'll see you on the Shadows of the Erdtree DLC launch day because I know you'll be back because we're all suckers. That's the
Yeah.
thing is, I didn't. I have a complicated relationship with Elden Ring where I love parts of it and I don't love other parts of it. If you think I'm going to be an idiot and not play the DLC, of course I'm going to play the DLC. I'm a psycho. I'll get that fear of missing out and buy it because I'm a fucking idiot. But it's like that's what we do. We rage, we
What about you,
cry.
Kyle? You gonna play the DLC?
What's up?
You gonna play the other DLC?
Probably not. I don't
Yeah,
know. Depends on when it comes out.
It'll be next year.
that's the
That's
spirit.
gotta assume.
I don't know what next year looks like.
Well,
But no,
just a load of JRPGs.
Armored Core, like, I don't know, it's kind of difficult. The bosses will trip you up once or twice. Honestly, I kind of liken them to how the Neo games do their bosses, where they don't have a lot of moves. So they're all very, like, they're all very easy to figure out what they're going to do. Everything they do is pretty telegraphed, but those once or twice, you'll still get tripped up on some easy stuff.
No, fair enough. Because I have seen that, and I feel like I don't want to say skill issue because I feel like that's the biggest meme ever. But I feel like it's one of those things where, and I mean Hunter knows this from me firsthand, right? When I play a FromSoft game, I pick my weapon on whatever at the start, and it's unga bunga time. It is like I will live and die by
Ethan
this
is
weapon.
usually like, I will just play with the box art and never stray from the path.
Or with Elden Ring, it's like I got a cool katana, and I'm like, hello katana, I'm using you for the rest of this video game, whether I like it or not. So it's just unga bunga. Whereas like I feel like Armored Core, a lot of the time it's
I
like,
feel like
okay,
what I've heard
this
discourages
customization.
that.
Go on, sorry, Hunter.
As far as like it wants you to switch out
Yeah.
what your
It kind of wants
loadout
you to build a
is
loadout for the mission.
situationally.
You don't lock yourself into like a certain weapon path or anything like that.
It's not like a build system like Dark Souls where you're like, this is my build for this playthrough. I'm gonna lock this in. Whereas I feel like you were saying, it's a lot more digestible with these 15 to 20-minute missions. It's more of a, what build do I need to succeed in this mission? And let's customize and do, like, let's formulate the best mech that I can have for this mission. Because like you say, with a shorter time, it's more focused and it's more kind of like, you have to use your brain. I'd fucking hate it. But, I respect it a lot. And people seem to like, here's the thing, Cal. You love mechs. You're a big mecha. You like mechas. I don't get them.
It's pretty fucking neat.
Don't get them. I don't get
Dude,
them.
they're just really cool.
That's my big question. Let's not talk about the
They're
video
just
game.
really
Why do people
cool.
like mechas? I just don't get it.
I mean, it's
like-
never been something that's clicked super, or it's never resonated super hard with me either. But I've had the occasional thing that I enjoy that's mech related.
It's definitely
13
just like
Sentinels was cool.
It's definitely just like my inner 10-year-old in my brain that's like, ah, big robot do smashy smashy. It's like why people like kaiju movies. They just want to watch Godzilla smash some shit.
I've never got those either, to be honest.
Well, there's your problem.
It's like Transformers. I never liked
you
Transformers.
hate fun.
I never like. No, I just like different things. I just realized, like, here's the thing, right? And it's sad. It's not sad to admit it, but it's like I realize now, looking back at it, where it was like, like when we're going down a deep dive. This is not Armored Core, but I don't care. Buckle look, kids, like we said, crazy sort of crazy fall coming up. But it's like, you know, when you're a kid and it's like you watch the TV adverts or whatever, and it's always like, you know, you've got these like action sets, like, hey, look at all these guns, or look at the Transformers and shit like that. I never really cared. I was always like,
Mhm.
I like Lego, and I liked it more for the building things. I had like Lego Indiana Jones stuff. I loved Indiana Jones, loved Indiana Jones. But here's the thing: I watched the films like once or twice as a kid, but the Legos was the shit that I liked. So it's just like I just
Yeah.
liked the Legos; they were cool. Or it was like these Atlantis Legos, love that shit. But like the kind of like like I know Lego is, well, it's more universal now, but a lot of the time, back when we were kids, they definitely did like kind of gender Lego, where they were like, "Hey, these are the ones that are, like the boys' ones," where it's like, look at these fucking like Bionicles and shit like that." Where it's like, hell, I never liked Bionicles. I'm realizing I never liked any
I
mechs
like
ever.
I like Bionicles like very from a distance. Where I thought their commercials were rad. I still listen to
Yeah.
songs in those commercials because they were cool. But I only ever had like one or two.
Bro, I remember getting a Bionicle and
Watched
just
one of the
being like, "This
movies.
isn't like real Lego. This isn't like the thing that I like." But no, I just
What's
like,
this? It has joints.
yeah. But I don't know. I just like I
I mean,
went.
like, I've never
Yeah.
been like a Gundam person. I've never bought like build your own little like mech figure sets. I just like seeing mechs show up in things like Neon Genesis.
The only time where I was like, "Hey, I kind of like this," is I kind of like in Xenoblade Chronicles. I just thought it was a cool idea to have them be on like the worlds were like you like their
Hmm.
worlds were just two
Yeah, that
giant
was
mechs that were
cool.
fighting each other and then they were dead. I was like, that's cool, just from a world building point of view. Not didn't care that it was a mech. I was just like, that's kind of a cool idea that this kind of man-made machine was like what like these two like machines were what were people were living off of.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool, but I've never been like I say, never liked Bionicle, never been a mech person. I just realized
But
like all the kind of like the boys kind of toys when we were younger or whatever. I was never really into them. I just liked Lego. I just liked Lego. That was it. It was just I was just a Lego person. Um,
well, Ethan, I think you'll fit right in for Starfield because there's mechs in that game that you're not allowed to pilot.
oh thank God, thank God.
Todd
You
Howard
scared me
just
for a
put them in
second.
there.
You scared me
I
for a
mean,
Todd
to
second.
Howard
be
just put
fair,
them in there
maybe
and
they
said,
just
"Nah,
learned
you
from
can
the
look, but don't
mediocre
touch."
gameplay of the power armor in Fallout. Because you know what, that looks cool, but it's never fun to. It was not fun to control, at least in Fallout
You
4.
know, here's the thing, right? Is Starfield has been in development for 8 years. It's been long enough. I don't care that I can't use a mech. Can we just play it? Because one, I just want to play a new Bethesda game, and two, I'd like to play the Elder Scrolls 6 before I'm dead. Is that too much to ask? Move on so we can start the next one. like, like it's crazy.
How about another version of Skyrim?
I take it. Skyrim remake, I'd take that shit. We're apparently getting Oblivion remake, and I'll take that. I'll happily take
Oh,
that. I'll take
I
anything.
take that. Oblivion is the one that I wish I had played.
Dude, I love and hate Skyrim at the same time. It's a great relationship I have with Skyrim. It's great. But no, that's not Armored Core. I nearly said Elden Ring. Fucking hell. Um, but no.
No, Elden Ring was earlier in the year.
It was earlier. It was last year. Well, yeah, we did do an episode.
Well,
We don't
earlier for
talk about that
me.
episode, Carl. We don't talk about that episode. And if you are a fan of
All
FromSoft, please
right,
do not go
that's the
back.
forbidden episode.
Thank you. Um, but no, I've like I say with Armored Core, it's like I look at it and it's just like to me, it's what happens when you give a company like From Software, who have always made decent games and always made good games, but until Dark Souls, never really blew up. Like we always talk about,
Mhm.
like people saying like, "Oh, Persona 5 is when Persona blew." I'm like, in retrospect, it's like it's a drop in the ocean compared to like a Dark Souls where it's like, okay, fucking huge expansion, right? And I feel like Armored Core is kind of that game developer thing that happens every now and again where a big developer who's made a like a brilliant franchise that's massively blown up then get to go, we have this money, let's go make the things we used to like to make and just make this kind of brilliant explosion of what we wanted to make these games in the past, but just do it and know that we're probably going to be fine because people know us now and we've built up a kind of fan base. And I love
You have a
that.
good rapport, yeah.
Yeah, I love that because here's the thing is if From Software didn't like have the kind of fan base that they had now, and they made another Armored Core, yeah, the mech heads would love it, but no one would give a shit. There's so many people that are just playing Armored Core because it's FromSoft, and that's
Yeah.
so good because now FromSoft can basically just go, hey, we don't have to always make Souls games. We can make an Armored Core. We can do other things, and I like that.
Or
That's
even
cool.
if this didn't pan out, they're only one Souls, Elden Ring, whatever it is, away from
Recouping the
Yeah.
costs.
recouping,
From
and then
breaking
some.
even, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's cool. You don't see that as much anymore like you used to, right? It's like most of the time, and I mean, you see it with Sony all the time now, where it's just like, hey, Gorilla's making Horizon stuff, Sony Santa Monica's making the fucking God of War stuff, and
The
you've got
difference there
Insomniac.
seems to be they hate their old series besides Insomniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like even Insomniac, where it's like, okay, their risky ventures, they get to make a Ratchet and Clank once a decade, and it's like, well, whoop-de-doo, like go back to Wolverine mines, Mister, like chop chop. And it's like just seeing something like who, let's be real here, From Software could genuinely just make another Souls game every 4 to 5 years and be completely fine for the rest of their existence. They could be completely fine with doing that, but they can just make an Armored Core game and it do incredibly well to the point where it has it's had a bigger launch than Sekiro on Steam, and I'm like, that's sick.
Nice.
That's really good.
Hell yeah.
Good for them. But
Maybe
no,
this will do well enough to when I go pick up Armored Core 7 whenever that comes out, and I go to my GameStop, the guy behind the counter will tell me they have more than one copy available.
that blew my mind. That genuinely
That
blew
blew
my
my
mind.
mind too.
GameStop is weird, where often,
They're
or
yeah.
at least in my area nowadays, it's like they'll only order a couple more than what they have pre-orders for now.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing happened a few weeks ago with the Pyra and Mithra amiibos, but I mean, I just chalk that up to Nintendo being shitty
Nintendo's
Or
always shitty.
often,
and
or in
making
the
five
case
of
of
them.
Raincoat, I didn't pre-order soon enough, so I just couldn't have a physical version of it.
Like I was saying to Kyle, I'm lucky because in the UK we have like next day delivery, so you can even pre-order a game the day before and just get it to like, it's like I pre-ordered this literally, like this is the Hitman collection that recently came out, which is basically just a repackaging of Hitman 3. But spoiler alert, guys, I didn't own Hitman 3, so we're all good. But this was like, I just bought it, like I just saw that it was coming out, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I would like to play Hitman 3 properly and like go in depth with it at some point in the near future. I played it on Game Pass like a year and a half ago, but I did the typical Game Pass thing of play it for 15 hours and then fucking walk away. Um, but you know, just pre-order it. But then I like go and look into it, and I'm like, you know what, this game's not anywhere either. It's weird to me. I get it, physical games are dying, blah blah blah, but it's weird. It's like it's still a FromSoft game. It's not a Rain Like I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, it's not
understand
Raincoat.
It's
Rain
still like a notable release.
Notable enough. Like, guys, I know that Starfield's out in like 2 weeks, but geez, like that's ridiculous. It's bizarre to me. Are that many people just buying digital now? Are we just archaic? I know the answer's yes, but
The answer is yes. We still own shelves.
dude, I've said it before and I say it again. If in the UK, if digital games cost the same as physical, I would have made the switches myself. I just need. I'm like, I'm too much of a Scrooge McDuck where I open my wallet and I go, fuck it. It's like, it's 10 quid cheaper. I can't deal with
Not
it.
when you got vouchers every time you buy a game from the store.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cost me £35 for Hitman 3, got £10 in fucking credit, dude, on that purchase. So really only cost me 25. Thank you, Game Collection. Very cool. Not sponsored. It's just a very good website if you're in the UK. You genuinely get, like, right now they have a promotion. I sound like a sponsor. You get like 10
Not
quid off of
sponsored,
everything.
just a big
Not
fan.
sponsored. Not sponsored. Their shipping is
Ethan would
sometimes
be great
shit.
at
I
like a
sometimes get,
gaming
yeah.
equivalent of Supermarket Sweep.
I sometimes get the games a day late and it pisses me off, and their contact form is fucking garbage. There you go. It's not sponsored, but hey, if you want 10 quid off of Spider-Man, you know where to go. But no, it's bizarre to me. Anyway, so would you recommend Armored Core? I feel like we're trailing.
I would, yeah. I think this game, honestly, I think it's for anyone. It can be challenging, but it's not nearly as challenging as like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne. And even then, like, it's just a good game to play in short bursts. You know, with this mission structure, it's a nice gameplay loop that just kind of feeds back into itself to get you to want to play more. Yeah.
You see, it's
As someone
funny.
with no experience with the Armored Core series, I think this is a good jumping in point.
And I'm glad you like it because there's a part of me where I don't know, Hunter. Sometimes I don't know about you. Sometimes I check my friends list because I see what just to see what other people are playing. And I saw you were playing Armored Core,
Yeah.
and I saw you were playing Final Fantasy 14 again. And there was a part of me that was like, "Oh God, does he hate it?"
No.
But now that you've told me about the
No,
short
that
gameplay,
was
I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. That it's like, okay, you can hop in and out. It's more of a. There was a small part of me that was like, "Oh fuck, he's gone back to Final Fantasy Hunter." Oh no.
no. This was a login to FF14 to do my dailies. This wasn't when I was playing FF16 and I went back to 14 to go as a palate cleanser.
Dude, I was like, I can't deal with angering the FromSoft fans again. I can't do it. I really can't.
No. This game's legit.
That's great. So yeah, congratulations FromSoft. You've made another banger. Fucking well done. I
To no
just.
one's surprise.
But the crazy part is this year we were saying it off the podcast. Year's been so fucking crazy, and there's been so many bangers where it's like Armored Core 6 is fantastic, and I still like it. Still could not be nominated for Game of the Year. This is how crazy this year is. Where it's like last year, year before,
It could not get nominated for anything at Game Awards, truly.
like last year, year before, this game would have easily been nominated for Game of the Year. But
Oh
this
yeah.
year, it's absolutely mental. Like genuinely, we were
It's
saying,
fighting so many things.
yeah, we were saying it's like Baldur's Gate and
Zelda,
Zelda are a
Baldur's
lock.
Gate,
The other four,
Starfield, if that's good.
ugh, I'm scared. The reviews are out next week. I'll be playing it next week, which is scary, but you know,
Oh.
still, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. Looking at it right, I don't know what that is, but it's like, yeah, Baldur's Gate, Zelda, Resi 4, Street Fighter 6, Hi-Fi Rush, so much stuff, Pikmin, it's Diablo. What a year! Like, genuinely. Hey, I've got to give the three Pikmin fans...
Pikmin got an 88?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
The fuck? That's the same as FF16.
Don't mess with us
I
Pikmin
know.
fans, we play nothing else. Like, 88.
We actually play our games.
See you in 10 years for Pikmin 5. Can't wait.
Dude, I still forget that it's on 4. Said
Same.
Pikmin, and I was still thinking 3.
Yeah.
No, that was 2014.
But yeah. Anyway, Armored Core, you should play it. It's pretty good. And yeah, pick it up or not. If you remember, guys, here's my tip for you guys. It's a busy fucking season.
Yeah.
So it's
this
okay
isn't a
to
must
not
play game.
So ration your time.
It might be
money.
a must play game, but also for you if
For
you
some
like this kind of
people.
thing. But it's perfectly okay to look at these next 3 months and say, what are the 3 games I really want to play, and play those at launch, and then wait for the rest. Don't do an us. I feel like,
Yeah.
like I am literally going to be buying like 8 or 9 games over the next 3 months, and it's not good.
Oh,
But the
that's gonna
problem
be
is,
funny.
I can't even say, because most of the time I just go, I'm doing it for the podcast. This time I can't even say I'm doing it for the podcast. It's like, I want Starfield, I want Spider-Man, I want Mario Wonder, I want this shit.
Right.
Like, I can't help it.
Yib.
And even if I'm not buying it, I'm like, I kind of want to play Lies of P at least a little bit. So it's like, I'll try it. But it's weird, right? It's weird. Anyway, speaking of things that don't give me excitement for the future, Opening Night Live.
The anti-must-play of video game conferences.
So last week we did talk about Opening Night Live. Did anybody care? The answer was no, and I agree with that opinion. No, Opening Night Live happened, so we're going to talk about some of the things that got announced, and we'll give our we'll do a thermometer reading. Are people interested? Are we not interested? Overall, I was the only person to watch the show in full, so I'll give you my opinion on it.
I was at work.
It was one of the better Opening Night Lives. What I'll say is it was solid. Whereas most
It did get me to click on more than one thing, so
most
that
Opening Night
tracks.
Lives in the past
Way to go, Jeff.
were 1 or 2 like brilliant reveals and an hour and 55 minutes of fucking nothing. Whereas this was 5 or 6 decent reveals and then a load of nothing. And it's like, I preferred that because it felt more scattered. So it felt better. It was still like a 3 out of 5 though. It wasn't incredible. But there were some things that were announced, and we'll talk about them right now. There was like one new announcement for a new video game, and that was Little Nightmares 3 is announced, which is coming in 2024. I said this to Hunter, One thing I didn't mention, Hunter, was the original developers aren't making it because they didn't want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
make one
it's
after 2.
the Until Dawn guys who are making this one, which will be
Mm.
interesting to see them do mechanics that involve more than picking options.
The
So,
problem, the problem with the Until Dawn guys, and I'm trying to remember what their name is because
super massive.
Supermassive, isn't it? I always get them and Supergiant mixed up a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
because of quality, but because of, mixing up how
Just
close they are.
first
But the
names,
problem was
both very
yeah,
close to being star related.
the thing with Supermassive is Until Dawn, whether you like or hate cheesy kind of horror, like teen horror kind of films or that kind of genre, I think it was a
Yeah,
good attempt at what that thing was. Whether you like it or not is another thing entirely, but it was good. And then they've done they've done the
Dark
Dark
Pictures.
Pictures games, and they've been so mixed to shit the entire time that I'm like, why did you not
They
just
don't
make a
seem to have
second
the same
Quarry?
sauce.
You should have just made it. You should have just carried on with what you were doing. Because man, hopefully, Little Nightmares 3 is good.
Like,
Um,
yeah, imagine if they just didn't do the Dark Pictures stuff and took all that effort into making like The Quarry,
yeah.
and maybe The Quarry would have come out like a year or two sooner than it did,
And the Quarry was
but
people
in a
liked the
better.
Quarry.
Yeah, people seem to like that more.
It seems like when you take your time to make these kind of cheesy 80s, 90s horror movie game things, people like them. And then when you do these mini horror games, no one likes them. So hey, stick to what you're good at. Maybe Little Nightmares 3 might be a good one again because again, it's got that focus to it. It's got that kind of
Yeah, it's got like some
world
kind.
to it. That's they might
Yeah.
look out for it.
I didn't
I
play
hope for
Little
it.
Nightmares 2 yet, but I played the first one and thought it was fine. So, maybe I'll play 2 or
You've got some
pick up
catching up
3
to
even.
do.
Yeah. I'm not sure it really
Some
matters.
required reading.
Black Myth Wukong blends Chinese myth and Soulsborne. It's another one of those Soulsborne games.
Oh,
Uh,
we love
I'm not
Soulsborne.
gonna lie to you guys. This was one of the trailers where I went for a pee in the middle of it, but from what I saw, it looked all right. It's one of those Souls games. I think my problem with these games
I
is there's
think it
so
looks
many of
cool.
them that I'm like, I've still got the I'm in the fortunate position, I guess, of I haven't played all the Souls games yet. So when I want to go and play a Souls game, I've literally got Demon Souls, the whole trilogy, and Sekiro still to go. So it's like I've got a plenty of them. So when I see these, I'm just like, I'm gonna forget you exist before I even have
So
the feeling to play you. I'm sorry.
this trailer didn't do a whole lot to distinguish itself from being more than that, but a few years ago, because I already knew about this game back in like 2020, and
Mhm.
I thought the trailer that it got put out for it then looked really cool, and that's why I was jazzed to see this again because I'm like, oh, it still exists. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Because I've been interested in playing this for a while.
Well, it's coming out soonish, I guess. Well, it didn't have a date on it, so
Yeah.
that's a lie. But maybe one day you'll play it.
Didn't have a
Coming
year. Like, was
eventually.
it? Did it say 2024? I don't remember.
I've not got on this list that I've got here. It does not have a date.
All right.
But I could
Doesn't look like the
also
trailer does either.
All right.
summer 2024 is currently listed as.
Cool.
Uh, but hey, we'll see if it happens. If you're an Age of Empires fan, congratulations! You got a surprise launch of Age of Empires 4. I'm sure all 5 of you are very excited. Have fun.
On the Xbox.
On the Xbox. Uh, not playing Baldur's Gate yet, but you can play Age of Empires 4. Very cool. Tekken 8 got a release date, January 26th, 2024. It's starting that crazy season. We've had a lot
Dude.
of early. It's starting to populate. The start of 2024 is starting to populate.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is like the big three fighting game series are have
They're
been
all
at like a
back,
pace.
baby.
They've been at like a pace of 3 to 4 months apart when you take Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat and then Mortal Kombat to Tekken now.
Which is
Mhm.
really
That's like
cool. I
It's
less
like
than a
that.
calendar year from the first one to the last one.
I
Evo's
feel
gonna
like
be
That's
so good next year. I can't
I
wait.
feel like it's really cool as well because it's like I don't think it's intentional, but they've given each other enough room to
there's
breathe and
enough
to
space
shine.
that
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
they'll all get their moments in a way. Yeah.
which is really cool because you've seen it before when there's two similar games in the same genre where they go at each other's throats. It's like when Battleborn and Overwatch came out at the same time, and they were just like, Blizzard were like, "We're sending you to death," and then it's just like they were like, "We're coming out 2 weeks before you" or whatever. And it's like usually you just see people
Shadow
try and
Realm for
kill each
you.
other, not give each other space. But
Or
that's cool.
sometimes people under the same umbrella. Remember Titanfall and Battlefield?
Yeah, that was just so stupid.
Oh my god, yeah. Which was
Remember
next
when
to
Watch Dogs? Do
Call
you
of
remember when
Duty
Watch
too.
Dogs came? Yeah, well, there was the time where Watch Dogs, Immortals, Phoenix Rising, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out within like a month and a half as well. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my god, what's the problem?
No
Why are
clue.
AAA developers like this?
No clue. But yeah, January 26th. Obviously, they weren't announced at when it was announced at Summer Game Fest. We did get a date for Persona 3 as well at the same time at Gamescom. It is coming out in February. Can't remember. What was it,
I
February?
think it was February 2nd.
February 2nd, I
February
think. Yeah.
2nd. I am going to. Hey, Rocksteady Games. I think it's perfectly fine for you to move Suicide Squad out of February. I think there's enough stuff in the first couple of weeks. In fact, I think it's perfectly fine for you to just cancel Suicide Squad at this point. I think we're good. Thank you. Um,
Yeah. I think
because
they
here's the
might be in the
thing.
sunk cost mindset
Here's
now,
the thing, yeah.
unfortunately.
I was always in my head, I was always like, this game's gonna be shit. But I felt like there was gonna be a small part of me
There
that's
were a
like,
couple of
benefit of the
points where they
doubt.
gave me hope even,
Yeah,
but
like the Kevin
that's
Conroy
been
thing and stuff
dashed.
like that. And I was like, February, I'm like, nothing comes out in February. I might give it a chance. Persona 3, Tekken, all this other shit, no chance now. Got no chance. Um,
Yeah, no, Ethan's a known Tekken enjoyer, everyone,
no
in case
Tekken
you didn't know.
enjoyer. I'll be playing Persona 3 Reload, dude. I'm sorry, like that is genuinely like I'm so excited for that video game. It's unreal how excited I am. I don't know why that
Same.
first trailer was so garbage, but everything else that I've seen, I'm like, you're fucking like I say, I want to know what you're on because I want some of it. Whoever's coming, the underwater theme, the fucking
Those
transitions, like
cut-ins
everything, the
shred.
cut-ins.
Everything just looks beautiful.
People are
God,
like,
I'm
they'll
so
never have the
happy.
style of Persona 5 again. This Persona 3 is completely different and it looks fucking incredible. And I'm like, oh my god. The models don't have the derpy eyes anymore. Oh, what, like, honestly. Someone said it on Twitter and it's like, finally, the models look like they're on quality with the actual, like, artwork. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I think this is it. This is the threshold. They
Yeah,
look so
yeah, because
good.
like, dude, all kinds of games that have like portraits, and then models in the background struggle with that. Like, I even mentioned that in my Raincoat review. It's like, don't look at the models too hard while you're advancing dialogue because you might see through the crack.
Where the ones in this game actually do look expressive and good. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
god, I can't wait. Can't wait. Yeah. Anyway, the reason that I did bring that up is the day before, bad timing from Grand Blue Fantasy here. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is dated for February 1st, 2024.
I mean, when the first Grand Blue Versus came out, it came out right before COVID hit. So bad release dates are just in this series' lifeblood at this point.
Hmm. So we'll see if it ever moves. It might not. It might stay.
Grand Blue's super cool though. Y'all should give it a try if you do. If you've wanted to try getting into fighting games, it runs on simple button inputs, and the
Isn't
characters are
this
just super
one that's
freaking
coming
cool.
out the MMO?
oh, is this the JRPG one? This actually might be the JRPG
I
one.
think it's the
Oh
MMO
wait, is
thing,
it?
yeah.
Is this the? Oh yeah, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
this is the
MMO.
JRPG one. Yeah.
This is the
Disregard
one that
everything I
looked
just
this
said.
is the one that looked like the other one that was shown at the PlayStation thing, and I didn't really think either of them looked great.
Yeah, no, this isn't the MMO. This is the single player
Oh,
RPG.
oh,
And it kind of looks to me like every like JRPG action game that is released in the past 5 years. And I don't know what it is. I liked Final Fantasy 16 a lot. I'm not a Final Fantasy 16 hater, but Final Fantasy 16 made me realize, hey, not every JRPG needs to be like this. Can we have some other ones as well? And that's why I'm excited for a turn-based one like Persona 3 because I'm like, thank for God, I don't have to do stupid combos and shit. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hoorah for Sea of Stars in a week,
Yeah.
hoorah!
Um.
4 days or
Anyways,
whatever.
Grand Blue
And
Fantasy
don't yeah.
Versus Rising is actually coming out November 30th. So if you
Oh,
wanted to get into a fighting game, give it a
This
try.
year,
there you go.
This year,
Perfectly fine.
ah,
and
I
you don't
also
like
want.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat.
I also want to say that you can feel free to call me a hypocrite when I say that I'm the most excited for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to come out next year. You can call me a hypocrite when I say, "Oh yeah, bad action game slashy," and I'll be the first person there. Damn right.
Yeah, but you can slow down time in that one, and it's super cool.
Yeah, it also has Barrett in it, so 10 out of 10 video game.
Yeah.
FIFA Cloud Aerith, they're cool too, I guess. Crimson Desert showcases its quote unquote
Uh,
ambitious open world. Um,
I thought this one looked cool. This is one of the ones I stopped to watch because I don't know if you guys remember Game Awards, I think in 2020, the guy in the full suit of armor doing the drop kick. This was that
yes, I
Oh, is
do
game.
that
remember
this
that.
game?
Yeah, that's this
Yeah,
game.
Oh shit!
and
I
it still looked
wondered
really
what happened to
cool.
this
Like
game.
sometime during this trailer, a dude was riding on a horse towards a cliff. He jumped off of the horse, exploded into a flock of ravens, reassembled on the horse. Like this game, it looks
Oh.
cool. I don't know if it will be real. Is the problem.
I think my problem with this game, and I kind of I don't know. It's one of those games where I'm like, I'm glad everyone's feeling the vibe of this game, and I'm just not. And I'm just like, to me, it just kind of looks fine, and I'm like, I'm glad that everybody else is having fun here, because I was just like, I went to pee during this trailer. I was like, this just looks like an RPG, like, and I'm happy that other people are like, hell yeah, this looks sick, because I was just like, it looks fine. Uh, Speaking of, it looks fucking fine, I guess. Genshin Corner, fucking Hoyoverse, every game looks the same. Try not to, like, one Hoyo game, I'm like, that art style's kind of, like, it's a cool art style. 2 Hoyo games, I'm like, okay, they look the same. 3 Hoyo games, I'm like, fuck, like, can we have something look different? Like, oh my god. But yeah,
Stop
Zenless
making
Zone
clones
Zero.
of your own games and pay your voice actors.
Yeah. Zenless Zone
That's all.
Zero is the game that looked a bit, the way that I described it when we last saw it was a bit Jet Set Radio. Now, after seeing the gameplay, it doesn't look Jet Set Radio. I want Jet Set Radio. And I know there's that indie game that looks like Jet Set Radio that's
Bomb
just
Rush
come out,
Cyberpunk.
which
Yeah, it
I
just
will,
came out. It looks
which I
rad.
will get to eventually.
That is my opinion as well. I'll get to it eventually.
But Zenless Zone Zero, it did nothing for me. Neither does Honkai Star Rail, and neither does Genshin Impact. I'm kind of done with it. I never was
Same.
playing them, but I'm kind of
Go
done with
away,
seeing
Hoyo.
them. I'm sick of them, dude. I'm actually sick of them. These weebs, bro. I'm sick of
It's your
them.
own conference, so I can ignore it.
I'm just
I had to delete shit off my PS5 to make room for Armored Core, and I got rid of 2 games, Final Fantasy 16 and Genshin Impact.
epic.
They were taking up the most space.
Do I
Resident
like it,
Evil 4
man?
is next on the shooting block.
Oh dear.
That's my next biggest game. Although Armored Core is the biggest one at this point.
Yeah, true.
So maybe I'll finish that and then just shoot it off my PS5.
Nightingale, yeah, it's a release date, whatever. What do you remember that one is, Hunter?
I vaguely remember it was one of the BioWare people, and they had I remember its visual style, and then I was like, oh, wait, it's like a survival game. And then my interest in it
Uh
evaporated.
we're gonna Diablo had a Diablo thing where they were like, we're sorry, we swear. We're going fuck off, Blizzard. Starfield got a live action trailer where everyone was like, this was so cool. And it was one of those things where I was like it
Was
was
it,
shit.
though?
It was shit. Can I like it was
Yeah.
shit. It was a shit. As someone who was so excited for Starfield, it was shit. It was like it did the cardinal sin. It did the cardinal sin of anything based in space. They played Rocket Man. And I'm like, guys, everybody plays Rocket Man. We do not need more Rocket Man. Thank you. I as someone who likes the song Rocket Man, I'm sick of hearing it. Can we please use anything else to advertise a space game? Thank you. It was just
What song would you use, Ethan?
I don't know, party rock.
What's your choice?
Something.
That's an acceptable answer.
Could you imagine it? Just what the exact same trailer, just like astronaut. The little girl looks like I want to be an astronaut, and he blasts off into space.
If you want a
and it's
song
just
that will
like, every
provoke
day I'm
alien life
shuffling,
into
dude.
finding Earth to expunge it from existence, yes, shoot Party Rock Anthem.
Yeah, I just think you're a hater, Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter hates fun.
But I'm
just
still very
think the
excited
song
for
wasn't good.
Starfield. It's one of those games where, similar to Tears of the Kingdom, I won't believe it's out until it's in my hands and I'm playing it, really, because it's just one of those games that we've heard about for we've
Like
heard
a
about
unicorn.
Starfield. It was officially announced 5 years ago, and we unofficially knew about it for 4 years before that. So it's like we've known about this
Yeah.
game forever. Um, so yeah, it'll be great to see it come out. Will it be great? Will it be bad? Find out next week, I guess, because the reviews will be in. And whether it's positive or
And
not,
if it's in the
it's gonna be
middle,
hell.
people are sure gonna act like it's one or the other.
It's gonna be hell regardless of what the scores are. Don't go on Twitter that
Yeah.
day. It's gonna
God,
be
it's gonna
it's
be
gonna be
so
hell.
funny. As someone with no horse in this race, it's gonna be funny.
It will be. Anyway, Mortal Kombat 1 is bringing back more classic characters. Mortal Kombat 1 is in full press mode, obviously, as the game is coming out in just a few short weeks.
I wasn't even gonna watch this trailer, but then I saw Shao Kahn's design on Twitter, and he looks stupid.
mm,
They gave him horns.
Do
the
you
one
guys see that
thing.
Smoke is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal?
Oh, really?
Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool.
One
But
thing I will
and
say is like I hate it's someone who has no horse in Mortal Kombat. When I see when I see like Ed Boon be like, "Oh yeah, this is one of our biggest stories ever, and this is gonna be so like it's gonna be so epic. You're gonna love the story of Mortal Kombat 1." And then they show the fucking story trailer. And it's just a bunch of people just talk. It's like Globo Shitto just fucking talking, and everyone's like, "Oh, this trailer's sick." I'm like, I don't get this. I don't get it.
yeah, and like it's hilarious because they gave Shao Kahn dragon horns, and if you remove the dragon horns, his face, he looks like he is not a man that would conquer the block that he lives on, let alone several realms. Which I don't know, maybe that can play into part of because in the last game he was just a stupid meat wall and
Hmm.
not very good as a character in general. And in the earlier iterations of his character, he was actually like comedically weaselly for being also physically imposing. Like he took power from the guy before him by like slowly poisoning him and
Hmm.
stuff, and he always had like backup plans, and they just kind of forgot that he was also supposed to be smart in these later iterations of the character. So maybe the fact that he looks kind of like a weasel with dragon horns now, maybe they'll go more in that direction again.
Yeah, we'll
But
see. We'll see. It's cool. They also announced
yeah.
at Gamescom that John Cena is playing Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, rad.
Though the only one
Nice.
that's left to be announced is Homelander. We still don't know if Anthony is it Anthony Starr? Is that his name that plays Homelander? Can't remember what his name is. Uh Homelander actor. I believe it's Anthony.
Anthony Starr.
It is Anthony Starr. We don't know if Anthony Starr is playing Homelander yet, but John Cena is playing Peacemaker, which is great. I still want to know, will they put the Peacemaker theme in there somewhere from the TV show?
I
God,
I
I
just
really
want it to
hope
be
so.
how he's introduced to the
I
fights.
really want him to
Oh, do
walk
I
into the.
do?
I really want him to just walk in with the fucking music every time that he starts. I will. Ed. I'll tell you this. If you do put the Peacemaker theme song into Mortal Kombat 1, I will buy Mortal Kombat 1. That is the trade offer. I will actually buy the video game if you do that. Will I play it? That's another one. That's another question entirely, but I will buy it. The offer's on the table, Ed. Think of all that money, that extra one sale that you definitely need because Mortal
That
Kombat,
extra
dying
60
franchise.
bucks, 70 bucks.
And then finally, unless
However
you can
much
think
it's
of
been.
anything, Hunter, uh, Alan Wake 2 closed the show with a new trailer, uh, which was showing off some of the Alan Wake part of Alan Wake 2. And I'm not gonna lie, this trailer was fucking great. I'm not a horror
No,
person.
really.
I don't really care about Alan Wake.
I
Fantastic
didn't
trailer.
watch this trailer because I was already gonna play it. So I'm
Oh,
like, yeah.
it's fantastic. It shows off how they're merging kind of live action with the game, where they've got like the actors actually doing live action performances and stuff like that, and it's
Yeah.
blending the two together. And it was so good, where I'm like, they've done it before with Quantum Break. They've done it with
Control did it
Control
too.
as
They had
well.
some bits with Control where they had the live action guy doing some stuff and it was cool.
But they're doing it as part of as part of like Alan Wake's nightmares and stuff like that, and it looked really cool. Where I was like, you know what, I'm not a huge horror person, but that trailer's convinced me that if I ever do feel like playing one, I hope this game's good because it's kind of convinced me that I might play Alan Wake 2. I might play Alan Wake 1 and Control first, but Alan Wake 2 would be on that list. It was a very, very good trailer. Um, but yeah, and that's everything from opening night live. It was fine. It was pretty. It was fine. He also confirmed that obviously Game Awards is coming back. It's December 7th. Book it in your calendars. We'll all be miserable then.
Yeah.
I always love Game Awards. It's always a fun time. He always puts it on a Thursday because he's a bastard. He could never put it on a
love
Friday.
that he puts it on a Thursday.
He can't afford.
Why has he gotta be like this?
He can't afford
Like
a
at
Friday
least in the
slot.
first couple of years, it was PSX or whatever went on the next day. So like, sure, didn't want to counter program PlayStation, step on their toes or whatever. But they've stopped doing that like 3 years into his project here. Why didn't you take the Friday?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
I enjoy it. I enjoy staying up late with y'all and then taking the next day off of work.
yeah, well, you see, I've been an idiot the past couple of times where I've stayed up late and then gone into work the next day like a
Hey,
fucking idiot.
I've
And
went
for me, it's
into
4
work
a.m.
every
It finishes. Absolute
well,
idiot.
put in for the day off now.
Maybe I will, or maybe I
Do
won't.
it.
I live on the edge.
Oh, right. I just remembered on the pre-show there was a horror game that was really cool. Post trauma. It looked really neat.
Oh, in the Kyle Bosman section.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I
I
thought
was
that looked
completely.
really
By the
cool.
way, I was completely right. Half the chat was loving the Kyle Bosman section. Half of the chat did not understand what the fuck was going on, and I was like, I like this. This is great. Still my favorite part of opening night live. Jeff, you should use Kyle for more random shit in the future. You should just bring him on for random bits that people. As soon as you start dipping,
Just hit me up, Jeff.
Just do it. Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Anyway, that's that. That's that. What's next on the list? I don't know. I can't find it. I've lost my tabs now. I've been going through too many tabs. There we go.
Resident Evil 4.
Oh, thank fucking God.
Your escapades and getting the platinum for this video game.
Yeah, so
when you could have been playing Resi 2.
Now that you mentioned it, I could have.
You could have.
I could have. But alas, I didn't.
Just as good, arguably better.
Well, the thing is, right, we've been in a bit of a drought, and I did this like last week, right? I was going to bring it up on the podcast last week, but we ran out of time, and we've been in a bit of a drought. I've needed stuff to play because I've been a bit bored. So I was like, you know what? I'll do Resident Evil 4. I'm going to try and get the platinum. What I didn't realize is that it would take me 5 extra playthroughs of this fucking video game. So I have a whole new perspective on Resident Evil 4 as a video game. And my perspective on Resident Evil 4 Remake now is it's a very, very good video game. It's an excellent video game. But my God, are there some points of that game which are fucking awful. And there are some that are great. And it's just like, it's such a well-made video game that it's just like replaying it over and over again. It's like when you hear 6 playthroughs, most games I can't be asked to play a second playthrough on New Game Plus, never mind 6. But the fact that you take a game that takes 20-30 hours to beat the first time around, I think it took me like 22 hours or something like that to beat the first time round, and then you can make it so that the game takes like 3 or 4 hours by skipping the cutscenes and knowing what you're doing. It's a really satisfying kind of thing to play it on. Well, it wasn't satisfying as hell to play it on professional. It was miserable. That village sequence, oh my God, awful. But there's some it's really fun to kind of get good at the video game and have that kind of flow to it.
Yeah. It does just have that kind of very satisfying combat element to it with, kneecap, suplex, knife stab, etc. That's why I got so like addicted to the mercenaries for a weekend.
And the game gives you like stuff to like the game starts to give you overpowered stuff just so you can have fun with it, right? So it's like just like random stuff. Like it's just so goofy going around with the infinite rocket launcher and just going, haha, this game is no threat to me now. And you just like you run through the whole game in like 2 hours and it's just life's good. Or you get like the Chicago sweeper and stuff like that. Or
the Chicago typewriter.
Yeah. Or the hand cannon, and there's some really funny, goofy weapons for you to have fun with. I wasn't a huge fan of the stupid challenges like don't talk to the merchant and don't heal for the entire game. That just made shit miserable. Like, oh my god, that wasn't particularly fun. Um, but it's a really fun experience. It's just, man, there are some great, like, chapter 7 of that game is awful. For those who have not played it, chapter 7 is the first chapter of the castle. And my main problem with that chapter is, one, why is it so fucking long? Every other chapter in that game is like 20 minutes tops. Like, well, it's like 15 minutes if you skip the cutscenes, 10 to 15 minutes. That chapter is like 25 minutes. It just never it just goes and goes and goes. You're climbing up the castle, you've got the bit with the fucking catapults firing shit at you, and Ashley just starts screaming and dies instantly, and you're just like, fucking
They're
kill
like,
me.
oh
This is
shoot, I have
so
to run
bad.
backwards now. This is annoying.
Yeah, and it's just like they've got auto aim on the catapults. It's just like, oh yes, just fire it at him. Just let him have it. He can't see it. Fuck it.
How'd
Just
you
go
even
with it.
hit her that time? There was a building in between you.
Or it's just like, hey, I need to use my cannon to open the door and also to shoot them. And it's just like they perfectly time it so that you can get on the cannon, move it about a fucking inch, and then you have to get off it or else the catapult's gonna fucking fly right onto you. You just
Yeah,
die
yeah.
instantly. And I'm like, stupid game. And then
Like
once you've
one
done
element
that,
that was better in the first version was that you could just stash Ashley in one spot,
mm,
where you can't do that in this one. She'll either follow you closely or further behind, and you just tell her to stay put. And like after you clear the tower that you get that cannon from, and put her on the bottom floor of that until you're done, or
it's just
until someone spawns to grab her. But you know,
it's very, very annoying. And then once you've done that and you're like, oh yeah, finally, the annoying bit's over. No, it's not, you dumb fuck, because then you've got the water section, the waterway section, which is equally bad, if not worse, because it's just miserable. That whole section is just like 50 guys, hope you've got enough ammo, good luck, Lamau, and then you're just like, oh, it's so bad. Like, honestly, awful chapter. Um, and then also, it's just like playing it in professional. There are just so many sections where you're like, this is the thing I love about professional is you only get 15 saves. If you want the S plus rank, you only get 15 saves. So you have to be very strategic. Where it's like Resident Evil 4, I think, is a game that's way too lenient with its saves, especially from a tension point of view. There is like a typewriter and fucking everything. Like, so every like 5 minutes, there's just like there's a typewriter, there's something for you to do. And it's like when you're playing it for the first time like me, yeah, you're feeling tense all the way through. But when you're doing a second playthrough, there's no real threat really. It's like, oh no, I died. I lost 90 seconds of gameplay. What a shame. And you just carry on. Whereas like I had deaths on the professional difficulty where some chapters I had to go entire chapters without saving. So it was like I just like wanted to cry because like on the minecart section with Luis, I died
oh
during that,
no,
and it was like my last save was where was my last save would have been like not even like it would have been just after the fight. It would have been just right at the start of the mine, so I have to do the entire fucking mine section again, or
oh
yeah, or it's just like dying at the end
dude,
of a chapter and you
I could
have to do the
imagine
whole of it again. And you're
getting
like, ah,
in that scenario when I first played the game. You know when you blow up the rocks with
yeah,
Luis in that part. For some reason, I don't know. I didn't think to move out of the way of
yeah, and the
them. I
rocks
thought they
kill
were
you.
gonna despawn or something, and then they killed me.
Hmm.
And yeah, I thought they were gonna like despawn or go away or roll the other direction, but they killed me, and I could just imagine how heartbreaking that would have been on the professional
Oh, it's
difficulty
stuff
with
like
like,
that, and then it's just like the professional difficulty does just it changes stuff up slightly, so you just have minor annoyances that weren't there before. It's like in that mine section when you go for the dynamite, right? You've got the chainsaw guy chasing you in that section when you're after the dynamite. What they do differently in professional is when you go over to the switch to go and lower the bridge, there's a chainsaw woman there as well, so you have two of the fuckers to deal with.
oh,
And it's like you've just got like stuff like that where if that was a first playthrough, you'd shit yourself. For me, I'm just getting angry because I'm like, no, I don't have the ammunition and shit to deal with you right now. I just can't. It's just like
wait
there's
your
stuff.
turn.
Yeah, there's
That's
just
how
stuff.
I get
Yeah,
these games when too much stuff shows up. I'm like, yeah, you
and it's
stay
like
put.
yeah. It's like it's interesting because like a lot of the time it's just like again you don't feel that fear anymore. You just kind of there was one time the fight in the freezer area and the sewers just before the Luis mine section. I can't remember what
Oh,
his
the
name is.
Verdugo.
The Verdu that pistol only with no healing made me shit myself because I was like just running away for my life the whole time. It was terrifying because most of the
Did
time,
you
like
still have to kill him?
I did. It took that long. I managed to kill him with the pistol only, but it's
Well,
like
you can run away in that fight if
yeah,
you
but the elevator
didn't.
was taking that long that I managed to
Oh,
My
deal enough
God.
damage to him because it's
okay.
like you have to wait like 5 minutes with him chasing you. It's ridiculous the amount of time you have to wait.
I
So
mean, yeah, I always kill him anyway because that's just how I am.
yeah, I
You
mean
kill a
I've killed him
monster
for most of them.
unstaked.
Although I think if I remember correctly, the first time that I fought him, that it was like I remember being like that was it's one of the few moments in this game that made me properly like fucking like scream. Like I was like shit myself. Was when I first died to that thing. And the first thing I did was go straight back to my save with the merchant and I bought the fucking rocket launcher. I'm like, I'm not pissing about with this fucker. Like I'm like, this is like, no, not doing it. So with a pistol only, I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. I'm just gonna have to run
I
around
didn't
and
even know how
cry.
to fight him the first
Yeah,
time.
just shat myself, like genuinely. Like he got a couple of good jumps on me. I'll give him that. Um, so stuff like that's challenging, but a lot of the time it's just like I'm running around with a Chicago sweeper with infinite ammo. It's not particularly challenging. It's just like it's more kind of min maxing or dying way too early. There's some really annoying fights, and it's like okay, that's fine, but some of them, it's just like oh god, like the fucking fight with what's his name, the Colonel, or whatever his name is, and he's just like, God,
Salazar?
yes,
Or
Salazar,
or no,
the
Salazar
the
was
Colonel, yeah, the
Krauser.
Krauser. There you go, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
The second Krauser fight, so fucking annoying when you've got pistol only, you can't heal, and your armor died ages ago, and you
Pistol
can't
only,
talk to the
no heal.
merchant either, and you're just sitting there just going, what is my life? I now genuinely have to just hope to God. I was literally, the section where you're doing not the tunnel run where he's transformed, but the one before that where you have to shoot the mines off the wall and you just keep
Mhm.
throwing flashbangs and surprise attacking you.
Yeah.
And it's like I had to learn that like it was like House of the Dead at the arcade or whatever, where you have to like you want your
Yeah.
perfect aim everywhere, like genuinely, because it's like I couldn't like if he got even close to me, there was no mash the X button to get him off you because I just died instantly. So I was like, it was like
Oh
there's a
no.
lot of fun to be had, but man, is it tedious and like
Mhm.
miserable at times. Um, but it has made me appreciate that game more, and I do like it a lot. Um, I feel like I was too harsh on it, especially on a halfway through the year thing where I was like, "Hey guys, it was fine." I like it quite a bit. It's a very good game. Um, I also the reason I went through it all at once and didn't do what most normal people would do, which was do a playthrough, take a break, do a playthrough. Uh,
Probably wouldn't have come back.
yeah, was because one, I wouldn't have come back, and two, it was because it was one of those perfect timing things where it was my 175th platinum trophy. So I was like, that's cool. Trophy milestone, first horror game I ever beat. There you go. Put it on the list. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. Would I recommend it? Not really, unless you're a massive Resident
Unless
Evil
you
fan.
really like Resident Evil.
I did do enough though, where it's like in the in-game challenges, I did all but 9 of them, which weren't needed for the trophies, but I did manage to do like all but 9 of them. So I was pretty impressed with that. I was like, I'm pretty happy for myself there. And some of them were like bullshit ones where it's like hit 10 enemies with the wrecking ball that actually hits in chapter 15 towards the wall. Just like kill 10 enemies with that. And I'm like, I didn't manage to do that. But that's because I just kept chucking heavy grenades at the wall so it would break quicker because that section sucks. But I just love learning fun things like that. It's like that game is just, there's so much stuff that they programmed in that they don't tell you and you don't think about. And it's just like, genius where it's like, yeah, throw some heavy
Yeah.
grenades at the wall or rocket launch, it'll break it quicker. So that you only have to do one hit with Ashley. Or throwing the golden egg at what is it, whatever his name is. Is it remote? What the fucking little guy that turns into a
Yeah,
monster at the end of the
that
castle?
one's Salazar.
That one's Salazar, yeah. Throwing it, I thought it was Salazar, but then you've got me confused now with character names. But yeah, throwing a golden egg at him takes away 75% of his health instantly, so you can just put a couple of shots in it. You can skip the whole fight.
It's
It's
like
like,
how in old Final Fantasy games, anything that was like undead, if you
Oh
used
yeah.
healing spells, it would kill them.
Yeah,
Cool stuff like that.
stuff like that. Shooting the bell tower at the start of the game, if you've beaten the game once with a sniper or with a long range weapon, it skips the entirety of that first village section. Stuff like that. It's just like
And
really cool stuff
Ethan,
they didn't have to add in. What?
did you ever shoot the lake with the lake monster in it?
Someone already. I got jump scared on Twitter, so I never did it personally.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I
That
did.
one's not helpful, but it is funny.
Yeah, people. Yeah, and everyone's like, "Here's a pro tip, guys: shoot the water. You get some free, like you'll get fish or whatever, and then a jump scare."
You'll
Yeah.
get a fish.
I also want to
You get
say
a fish.
Technically correct.
one of my deaths
Aren't you
wasn't.
glad that I wasn't like that?
Yeah, I am glad.
Dude, you should have been. That would have
One
been
of my deaths in
funny.
my pro game was that fight. By the way, it was that fight on the
Mhm.
fucking boat. I had to do the whole chapter again, and I just wanted to cry. I
Oh,
genuinely wanted to cry. Um, but
it's a
hey,
really weird move for them to be like, ah, first boss fight. Not anything close to the mechanics
gimmick
you've been
fight.
dealing
Yeah,
with.
Here's
first
a
boss fight.
fish.
Here's a gimmick. I
Yeah, it
appreciate it.
was a weird choice, but
Yeah, it was. But you know what? I respect it. Anyway, Hunter, it's time for your Iron Lung impressions.
Oh
Not an
yeah.
actual Iron Lung. There's a game called Iron Lung. Let's
No, the
play it.
video game that came out last year. It was a horror game about
Mm-hmm.
going down. There's like a eldritch moon with a sea of blood, and you're going down in a submarine and
That
exploring
sounds
it.
so
It's
fun
the
and
whole
positive.
ordeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it while I was in my flight. So,
Oh, that would
uh,
fucking no, no, thank you.
yep, played it on the plane.
Yeah,
It was
that sounds fucking
thematically
miserable.
appropriate. It was just the other direction.
That sounds miserable. Like I would genuinely like I'd be hyperventilating. I'd be like, no, 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 no.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so indie horror game, retroactively based on a true story now. Mm, very um, uh,
Bazinga, dude! What a great one that was, dude.
yeah, but anyway, it's very simple as far as like you just got the couple you just rather than controlling the submarine like from a omniscient angle there, you're controlling the guy controlling the submarine, so you're just pushing the buttons on the console. You can't see outside of it unless you take a picture, and it's just got you get these 10 points on the map that you got to make your way towards, and you got to like look at the coordinates and stuff. One funny thing that happened to me while I was doing it was I thought the map was like divvied up into how like graph and whatever they had like sometimes it'd be the XY axis and then some with like just the one corner, and it'd be like other ones it'd be like divvied up into the quadrants where it's like X Y and then negative X negative Y and all
Mm,
that. I thought the map was the latter when it was really just X and Y. So I was sending myself directions that I didn't need to go for the first 5 minutes because I also
nice.
didn't read the briefing thing. But it's pretty good at building like tension because I could never quite get the way that you manage to not crash into things is it gives you a little motion sensor thing, proximity
Hmm.
whatnot, and you gotta like adjust your course to not crash into debris or whatever that's there while you go and find your points of interest that you're looking for. I think it's really good at building tension that way because it's never like there was never a firm science behind getting past whatever obstacle you were running into. Sometimes it seemed like I could just adjust a little bit and go slowly between two things if there was one on each side of me. And then other times it smashed me and I died. And, sometimes it would be annoying because you did the last 5 minutes of progress, but also now that I knew where I was going, it
Yeah.
took like 2 minutes to do after that. But I think it's just a really cool it's only like a 2 hour game too, so like a really cool project. Pretty good at building up the tension and whatnot. It has a solid payoff to the the longer you're in that little submarine, the more things go wrong. Eventually, a fire starts. Some of the blood water leaks in towards the end. It's real cool. Maybe don't play it if you're either claustrophobic or afraid of the ocean. But
Remember, guys, those
overall,
sometimes come in pairs as well. That can be both.
or both. But um, overall, I think it's a neat little horror game. Only like bucks and only a couple hours of your time if it's something you'd be interested in.
Hmm. And it is. It's on PC and Switch, so
Yeah.
plenty of fun to be had there, I guess. Well, fun isn't the word, but you know. I don't know how you played that on a
Entertainment.
plane. I don't know. You're so weird. I don't know how you played it on a plane. Like
I
genuinely,
needed
I
something
asked.
to do.
I'm trapped in. I'm trapped in myself in this
He
iron
didn't have
vessel.
Tetris 99 available to him.
I did have Vampire Survivors, but I had already been playing that for like 2 days, so I wanted to change the pace.
Oh, you poor, poor soul.
Could have
No.
played Hades.
I could have, I guess.
Where is the
Yeah.
announcement of
I
Hades? Do you? I feel like Hades too. I feel like we're. I think
I
we're
don't
in
think
for a
it's
game.
going into early like, it's not going into early access until if it goes in this year, it's like they're gonna have
It's a
the
Game
Game
Awards shadow
Awards
drop again, isn't it?
trailer.
They'll do a
Well,
Game Awards
yeah,
shadow drop again,
and
won't they?
then
Yeah.
and then we'll be wait rather than when I thought that it was coming into early access sometime before December this year, I was like, oh, rad, we're gonna get it in 2024. Now I think it's probably gonna be like 2025,
Really? I think it's gonna
but
be a short. I think it's gonna be a shorter early access period this time.
that is possible
Mhm.
since they
I
already
think
know
it'll
what they're
be
trying to do.
if it shadow drops
But
this year at the Game Awards. I think you'll get Hades 2 by late 2024. I think it'll be like November or December. I think it'll be a year in early access.
uh, that'd be a
That'd
great
be my
birthday
guess.
present.
Well, you know, I don't like saying with a sequel that they've done this before, but they're experienced enough that they probably know what they're trying to do
Mhm.
at this
Yeah,
point. So, and I don't think they would have announced that it was going into early access so far away if they didn't know that they were like, hey, we have a plan for this going into it. So
yeah.
that'd be my guess. And then finally on my list of things to wrap up with, yeah. So you can decide what was the worst decision: playing 5 playthroughs of Resident Evil 4 in like the span of 4 days, or playing through the entirety of the Spider-Man PlayStation story up until this point again, uh, in the past 4 days as well. I did that as well.
You're a
Well, at
madman.
least at least you did it before September. It would have been really silly to do it like less than a
As
month
the
away
game
from
was
the
coming
game.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you, yeah, so I decided to play the entirety of base Spider-Man PS4. I want to say, didn't do side quests because there isn't any important side quests. And I've noticed, and this is one of my things, my criticisms of Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales in a way. I think the side quests in Miles Morales are better than base PS4 because there's a feeling of like solidarity with Harlem and stuff like that with Miles Morales, where it's like, okay, you're helping the community and these characters kind of show up in the story. It makes more sense.
Yeah, I
Whereas,
liked finding the cat. I
yeah,
remember doing that one. That was
I did
fun.
that one side quest in Miles Morales. That's the only one I did was the cat, the Spider-Man cat one. Um, but yeah, so it's like I did the main quest. I did the main quest of Spider-Man base Spider-Man PS4. I did all 3 DLCs of The City That Never Sleeps, and then I did the entirety of Miles Morales. Uh, base Spider-Man PS. My first opinion is Miles Morales is the best one of all of them. That's the best. That's the better one of everything. It's more well
Agree.
refined. There's less filler. There's less bullshit enemies in that video game. There's so many bullshit enemies in Spider-Man One. It's unreal. There's so much that I'm just like, oh, this is so unfun, especially in the DLCs. Um, my opinion on base Spider-Man PS4 is it's still a very good video game. I think the story in base Spider-Man PS4 is better than the story in Miles Morales, but also you're talking about a 7-hour game versus a 20-hour game. There's obviously going to be some more nuance and development in the main video game. But I really like the story that they do in the base game. I think it's fun. I think, like I say, there's a lot of filler in it. I don't think it needs to be as long. I'm really hoping with Spider-Man 2 that the quality they've got more of that development done. They had a starter with the map. I know they're expanding it, but they had a starter. They had a starter with the move sets and all of that. I'm hoping that they've spent that extra dev time on side quests and more interesting story happening because there's so much
Yeah.
non-story happening in the Spider-Man uh, base game and a bit in Miles where I'm like, I'd love this to be a little bit more refined. Because I remember thinking before I did this replay, I'm like, they've used so many of Spider-Man's villains already. It's going to be hard for them to fill Spider-Man 2, let alone Spider-Man 3. And now playing them again, I'm like, hang on, we've done fuck all here. I've misremembered
Yeah,
this
yeah, I feel
a
like we haven't
lot.
done that much.
They have done
Uh,
like, yes, they had a Sinister Six technically in the original Spider-Man PS4, but they only really focused on 2 of those. The other 4 were just kind of there in kind of
Yeah, they
villain
were
of the
just kind
week
of there.
like vibes. So they don't really
So
count.
like, so one of them could show up again potentially,
Well, we
and I
see we
wouldn't
already
be.
know that Mr. Negative is showing up in Spider-Man 2 in some
Yeah,
way, shape, or form, which I'm happy for because Martin Lee is probably
yeah,
the
yeah.
best thing about that game in terms of
And
characters. I love the way, and I don't know if Cal knows what the other villain of Spider-Man PS4 was, but I love the way they did that villain. I think that villain's great. But I also think Martin Lee was great because I never heard of Mr. Negative and they managed to do this really cool
yeah,
story
neither
with a
did
character
I.
I'd
I
never
thought he
even
was
heard of.
original for a minute.
Yeah, to the point where I'm like, hey, that's why I'm happy for Martin to be showing up again because I'm like, okay, this is cool. I like this development here. It's cool. Um, so yeah, that's pretty cool.
But
The
like,
DLC
they could
fucking
pick any of
sucks,
the
and it
other
still
villains
sucks. Yeah,
too, and as long as it's not the Rhino, I don't want to see the Rhino
we've
again.
seen Rhino enough, especially Miles Morales. Although I want to say, and I don't give Insomniac enough credit, playing these back to back, I didn't realize there was so many references in the Rhino fights to what happened in Spider-Man PS4 that went completely over my head. There's a line in Miles Morales where he says that he basically mocks Rhino,
Because now
saying
Rhino,
we're on a
now I
goose.
can fight him now.
No, it's like we're on a. He mentions a goose chase, and I'm like, when I played Miles Morales, I went over my head, but that's because when Rhino in Spider-Man PS4 is chasing Miles around, at the end, he gets angry and he's like, I hate Chase of Goose. So then Miles is mocking him in Miles Morales later when he's got his electric powers. And I was like, that's funny that they're
Oh
bringing those
yeah,
references back that I wouldn't have noticed before. Because of course I didn't. Because I never played them back to back. The City That Never Sleeps DLC fucking sucks. It still sucks. It's awful. It's really bad. It's just filler. Like, here's
I
the
thought
thing.
that first part was okay, and then the second part made
Black
me
Cat is
quit.
fantastic. I love Black Cat. I hope it's rumored that she's in the sequel a bit. I hope she is. She's the best part of that DLC. I love her. Erica Lindbeck is great in
Yeah,
it. And
so good.
I really do like that character quite a lot. Um, I
I think
like what they
she's
do
more
with
interesting
Yuri in
than
the
Mary
DLC.
Jane.
Yeah, I like it. Same. Uh, I keep seeing tweets about her on Twitter, and I'm like, Twitter, you need to stop being Twitter. Like, just stop doing what you're doing. But also, it always makes me laugh. But yeah, I think Yuri's interesting in the DLC as well, which sets up stuff for this game. So
Yeah.
there's needed stuff in the DLC, and I like Silver Sable as well. Her stuff that they elaborate on in the DLC as well. I like her. She's an interesting character. Rest of it's garbage. The mafia shit, awful. Hammerhead, fucking cringe. I hope he never shows up ever again, ever.
Oh, my head is hard. I'm good at hitting things. Ugh.
Yeah, and I seem to be more threatening than the entirety of the Sinister Six somehow. And I'm like, fucking hell, no, bad. And then Miles Morales is great, although there's so much. There's my problem with Miles Morales as a game is I think there's some great stuff. I also think that some stuff just kind of feels a bit like we're treading water again, if that makes sense. Where it's like, oh, Miles has to have a personal confrontation and a personal sacrifice because that's what Peter had in his life at some point. And it's like we're doing these back to backs
But
where
we
it's like,
can't do anything too crazy because it's not Spider-Man 2 yet.
Hmm.
yeah, and I feel like, I feel like Finn is just like there's parts of Finn's character which I like. There are parts where I don't like the fucking bit at the end where she's like, I'm not listening to you, you're a liar, blah blah blah. And Miles is literally just trying to
Yeah.
say, don't stick the fucking thing in the reactor. They've rigged it to explode. And it's just like, no, I'm not listening. I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. And it's not even like I thought they were younger than they were. Like, I thought this was like, oh, this is just stupid 16-year-olds being stupid 16-year-olds. And it's like, Finn's 18. And I'm
Miles is
like,
like
at this
graduated
point,
now.
you're not
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
stupid to be like, I'm not talking to you. Like, this is stupid. It's dumb. Please stop. But it's still the
Still
best
had
one
its
of the
good
lot.
moments though. Like, man, the scene where he gets his suit,
Yeah.
good stuff.
It's better than it's
Ah,
better than the Peter one. It's better than the Peter
yeah.
one. I'll give him that. But I'll also give this. I don't know if it's a controversial opinion. I I know he's got the same suit in Spider-Man 2. I wish he'd have a different. I wish he had a new suit. Because I was playing the game again, and I was like, you know what, this suit's fine. But it's like I don't know why people love or hate the white spider suit from Spider-Man PS4. I personally love the White Spider. I really like the White Spider. I always have him in the White
I think
Spider
it's
suit.
good as the one to distinguish is like the design element that distinguishes Insomniac's version of, Peter Parker Spider-Man.
I never
I
have an
didn't play
attach.
with it. I played with Spider-Man Noir because of course I did.
Of course you did. But I've never had an attachment to Spider-Man suits really, so like I really like the White Spider. I think it's really cool. Whereas
Yeah.
like Miles is, I wish they kind of did not necessarily a White Spider tape, but I wish they kind of did more of a Miles is as much more of a Miles like Spider-Man suit that you'd
It
see
just
from him
looks
in the
like a
comics.
Miles Morales suit. It doesn't have the same kind of stamp
I
that
wish
they
it'd
put
have a
on
new wish it have a
Spider-Man.
new nuance to it really. I just kind of think I'm like I wish they'd done a new take instead of what they did. I also don't like the shiny red. I don't like the shiny red. There's like it's like it's shiny and it just looks cheap and I'm like I wish that it was matte. Like I don't know why I'm just like I wish the suit was more matte, but nitpicks. But no. Um my recommendation is don't do what I did. Don't play 25 hours of Spider-Man in a row again just to get the story. You could have watched a YouTube video. I was bored. But
Especially during the DLC part.
oh, the DLC is so fucking bad. It's so bad. It's so it's garbage, dude. It's just a bunch of Screwball's awful. Like it's just so bad, and they force
I
you to do it
forgot
with
she
one of them.
came back.
Yeah,
God.
so bad.
Screwball's the worst. I hope Venom eats her.
Oh, we can only dream. We can only dream. And it's weird because most of the
Post
time
dismembering her. Like,
it's weird because
the
like
Venom tendrils get each limb.
I feel like most like Insomniac when Insomniac does like commentary or does like witty banter on something. Most of the time, I feel like it's good, but Screwball just seems to me like a 45-year-old saw a Twitch stream and was like, "Hey guys, I can make some satire from this," and it's awful. It's so bad. It's like,
Yeah, sometimes people are like, hey, let's point out that this thing is annoying by just putting it in putting it in said piece of media repeatedly. I
but it genuinely does feel like someone who's never watched a Twitch stream is trying to make fun of Twitch streamers, and it's like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
cringe. It's so bad. Um, but yeah, it's I still like those games a lot. But man, don't do it. Don't do the binge. It's not worth it. It's not worth the binge, guys. It's not worth it. But I did want, like I say, I had to get out of the way now because there's no chance in hell I'm gonna play them any sooner than this. Like now, I've got like basically 2 months, just shy of 2 months, month and a half. I'm like, that's enough time. I can live with that without
Yeah.
playing Spider-Man. So yeah, it's all good. Anyway, on that note,
Kyle, did you ever find a copy of first
Nope.
2018 Spider-Man? No,
I gave up. I stopped
gave
caring.
up.
I'm just
no,
gonna
no,
play Spider-Man 2 when it comes out.
Rad.
And when I don't understand something, I'll talk to Ethan.
hell yeah. Well, I have got a
Say,
fresh
hey,
memory.
Ethan, who's this screwball and why did they just get dismembered by Venom?
If Screwball's in that game, I'm fucking not playing it. I'm like, that's when I'm like, yeah, return it. Bye bye.
Or like
I have my
skinned by
moments.
Craven, that could be cool too.
Like I say, if they bring those kinds of challenges back, I hope they go back to Taskmaster because that's a better idea. I just feel like they didn't want to use
I didn't really
Taskmaster in the
like
DLC.
Taskmasters either, but
No, but at least Taskmaster was a bearable character, whereas Screwball
yeah,
wasn't
yeah, he wasn't
bearable.
the worst.
Yeah. But hey, anyway, we're done. Let's wrap it up. Our links are on screen right now. You can go and follow us on Twitter to keep up to date with what we do outside of the podcast. There they are. Now they're there. But it's the last time you get to do your little flicky flick for a couple of weeks, Hunter. I'm sorry.
You can still do
Uh,
it. I'll allow
I'll,
it.
I'll do them like
What, are you just going to say our links are on screen right now
compulsively.
when they're not? Like, just be a fraud?
I'll
Hey,
just do it
you do it.
compulsively at the end of the spiel anyway.
Yeah.
Like while he's wrapping it up, I'll just be like, whoop, whoop.
Loop, 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 loop. But yeah, so,
You need to
yeah.
send me a copy of the script.
There is no script. I haven't said it in a while. It's because I haven't. To be fair, I finally found the old files for the old spiel, so I could recreate it again. I could do it again. Maybe we will. Maybe when I'm back. That's something to worry about later. But yes, I'm going away for a couple of weeks, starting next week. So Kyle has been kind enough to sort his setup out so that he can host this thing for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun. I will be popping in and out. I will be here at least once. But be good.
Be here
Be
to talk
well
about
behaved while
Starfield.
I'm away. Yeah. I'm only. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know if I'm
Always.
talking to you two or if I'm talking to the audience. But all of you, behave.
All of you. Ethan's watching.
It'll be great because if I'm not in any of them, that means like for the first time ever. Well, other than that one episode,
He's
I'll
a
actually be able to
spectator.
listen to the podcast. That'll be fun. But yeah, so I'll be away for a while. Cal's sorting that out. We've got plenty of stuff. Sea of Stars next week. Following week, Starfield. And
Week after
Baldur's
is
Gate.
something.
Week after that is Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat would be the week after that.
Yeah,
I
Mortal
believe.
Kombat.
Damn.
Then the
that
week
too.
after that, Ethan's back. Sadness begins once again. But hey, it'll be fun. Like I said,
There's gonna probably be some intermittent spooky games because we're getting to that part of the year.
It is getting to
and that's what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The best
see.
time of the year.
the best time of the year. Anyway, that's all for this week. This feels weird, but yeah, we're done. Passing it off to Kyle. I don't like it. I'm a control freak. I hate it. Anyway, that's it. I'm
I
done.
know.
Bye.
You'll just have to suck it up for 3 weeks.
Suck it up forever. Just never show back up. Just like disappear into the shadows. No, I'll be back
Be
soon.
like, damn, we're getting so many more numbers now that Ethan's not on the show.
I won't be surprised. I'll take it 100% personally. It won't be that new games coming out. Nah, not that. It's the fact Ethan's not here. Anyway.
Don't worry. You've still got the highest review by a country mile.
Yeah, for now. Anyway, that's it for this week. We'll be back
Dude,
next
nothing's topping that.
week. Yeah, well, we will
Don't
see.
say for now.
We
Nothing's
will.
topping
I
16K.
believe. I believe.
Not
I
for a
believe.
couple of years.
I
Yeah.
believe. You both are cowards, I believe. Anyway, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. I might not, but these two will. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Bootaloo.